Hello, Danie. Everybody. Happy Tuesday. Hello, hello. I see some familiar names and faces coming in here. We have a special guest tonight that I can't wait for you all to meet. The Danie Spikes will be joining us. You should see her pop right in here very soon, and I'll give her a full introduction when she pops in. But I'm excited for us to explore this topic, purpose over perfection. Kind of a long story, maybe not so long, but an interesting story as to how we got here as a community, how we got to this topic. But we'll go ahead and wait for Danie to join. Let's see. All right. Let's see. Welcome, everybody. Get comfortable. Let's see. I hope you have your notes out, your notebook out. We're going to get Danie to the stage, if you will. Let's see. Hi, Jen. I don't want to mispronounce your name. Here we go. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Danie. How are
Hey,
you?
hey, hey. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you for having me. It's my absolute joy to be here.
Awesome.
Go ahead and put on this quick filter because I did not do my makeup today, even though I had all the time in the world. I am showing up completely authentic, but you look absolutely gorgeous, Kris,
Well, thank you.
as usual.
Well, there's a filter here as well, because who has the time for a full face beat? Not me. Bless the hands that made filters.
May the Lord bless them and keep them. May
Listen.
his favor be upon them. Huh?
Oh
Amen.
man. Somebody says here, you both look great. Thank you, friend.
God bless you. Thank you. That's so kind. I'm excited about tonight. Ready to jump right on
Let's
in. I have
do
my
it.
Joy Home by Beloved Box candle burning. You have your filter on. I have my filter on. The people have submitted their questions. I am following your lead.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and jump right on in.
Let's get into it. So I was just greeting the people, and I want to give you your just due, Danie. For anyone who's not familiar with the Danie Spikes, shame on you, first of all. But second of all, I want you all to know, and I've shared a little bit about this yesterday. The woman that you see today, the
Come
woman that
on.
I am, who I'm able to show up as today, is in large part to the work that I did with Danie Spikes. She
Oh, that's
is
awesome.
a prolific, excellent um, a relationship coach. She is also the CEO of her own home and body care line that you all have to get into, Beloved Box. But I cannot wait for you all to catch these morsels. How this all came about, purpose over perfection. I'll give you all a quick walkthrough and then we'll dive right into the topics. Um, how this all came about, you all know that we're in 30 days of faith. That all came about. This is day 16, so we're just over halfway through. But if you've been following along, God gave to me actually on December 1st. Woke up that morning and God was like, what are the issues of the community, of the Coaching with Kris community? And immediately I'm like, it's the end of the year. People are probably feeling forlorn, like their back is against the wall. If they've been out of
Yes.
work for a long time, then it's crunch time, and the inclination is to chalk it up. Like, okay, the year's over.
Yep.
The year's over. Let me start thinking about 2025,
Mm-hmm.
2025. But as I've shared with you all over and over again, it's very on brand for God to come through
Mm-hmm.
at the 11th hour.
Mm-hmm.
Very on brand
Mm-hmm.
for your back to be against the wall, feet to the fire, and God jumps in. So 30 days of faith. While we go through these final days of December, let's not let a full 11 months of faith be ruined by 31 days in the month of December, 31 days of doubt.
Ooh.
We're not doing that here, not on
No.
my watch. We're keeping that faith full force. So we got here through 30 days of faith, but how Danie came about is on Sunday, I was wading into a topic. Someone asked me about tithing. We were on the topic of examining your fruit, looking for the fruit. Does your fruit say that you have the
Mhm.
faith in what you're asking God for? Because faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things unseen, which
Come on.
means your faith it weaves together. It is the fabric. It is the thread that brings the things we're praying for into manifestation. So
Yep.
we need that faith on full
Hmm.
force. Um, I was talking about tithing. Someone asked me about taking the fruits that they received, tithing from it. Danie happened to hop on there and weigh in when I actually needed you, girl. I needed you. But that's very on brand for Danie. But that's how Danie got here. You all, I want you to put some hearts in the chat for the Danie
Thank
Spikes.
you. Kris, I mean, you always bring the heat. And one thing I would love to say is when it comes to faith, first of all, the Bible makes it very clear that it's impossible to please God
Yeah.
without faith. So when we're talking about faith, there has to be a death to doubt, right?
Yes.
There has to be a moment where you are fully submitted and prostrate before God, saying, and it's not easy. We go from faith to faith, glory to glory. We heard the old school saints say it, but it becomes true as we become the aunties and uncles,
Mm-hmm.
and that it is that faith that allows us to please God. And going through the last year of faith, trusting and believing God, I stopped telling God that my back was against the wall, and I started praying that my back is against the cross, right? Because I know that the blood that flows from Calvary,
Yes.
that bloodstained banner, it drips down onto me, onto my home, onto my situation, onto every prayer request, onto everything that I'm leaving at the foot of the cross.
Yes.
So I want to encourage you guys. I listen, back against the wall. We know that energy, but if you say, you know what, Lord, my back is against the cross right now,
Mm.
and I have nowhere to go but to you. This is only going to happen by you, through you, because of you.
Mm.
How those small nuances and changes in the way that you speak
Yeah.
can edify your faith. Because if you're always saying your back is against the wall, then you believe it's just you and the wall. But when you start saying your back is against the cross, I don't know if this makes
Yes.
sense to you. Now it's just me. It's me, Calvary, and the cross, right? And my
Mm.
back is up against the cross, Lord. I know that you will not fail. You have never lost the battle. You are the Lion of Judah, right? And so I know that in this moment, with my back up against the cross, it is for my good. You are for me. You
Yeah.
go ahead of me, but I need you to show up in this moment. So we're
Mm.
talking about purpose over perfection. My
Yes.
God, on today.
Purpose over perfection. Now, this specific topic came about in a conversation yesterday
Mm,
when the remnants were there, or that the evidence of it bubbling to the surface was there, but it took a Danie Spikes to bring it on out. But really, what we're thinking about is what are the issues of the community.
yeah,
I talk a lot about purpose,
yeah,
uh, discovering your purpose, venturing out into your purpose. I firmly believe, based on, we're almost at 40,000 people in the community, and I talk to hundreds of people in any given month. Having
congratulations. We're not going to breeze by that. We are not going to act as if that is a small feat. No, we celebrate each other here. I don't care if it's one person, 10 people, 100 people, or 100,000. Congratulations.
Thank you, Danny.
Kris, you said yes. You raised up your hand. You are walking on water.
Mm,
And the thing about walking on water is it's something that we all can do, which is walk, right? Everybody can walk, but
yeah.
not everyone can walk on water. So
Yes.
congratulations to your community. Congratulations for your yes. Congratulations for walking on faith and being the example that you're talking to.
Mm. Now,
I'm a
Danny,
hush.
I'm smiling. I'm fighting back tears. You know I'm a crier. I'll cry right now. Uh, but thank you so much, because as you were talking, Danny, and thank you, my inclination is to breeze past accomplishments. So thank you so much for that.
No.
But let's get into the topic. It's
Yeah.
directly tied to this. Um, when I was venturing out into my calling, God kind of forced me into it. Frankly,
Mm-hmm.
I found myself laid off,
Mm-hmm.
um, and it put me into a similar situation that a lot of the community is in right now.
Mm-hmm.
Job seeking. But then also, this was after many years of God gently nudging me first, then pretty aggressively nudging me to step into my purpose, which is what you all get today.
Mm.
Career coaching, guiding people into out of corporate America and into their calling, monetizing their skill set, turning that purpose into profit, essentially, so that you can have fulfilling careers, that you don't have to strip yourself of your faith when you walk into the corporate
I
doors.
know that's
You can
right.
live a very, very fulfilling life as a kingdom ambassador. So there were a lot of challenges. Why did it take me so long? And this is the conversation Danie and I had yesterday. Why did it take me so long? Because I was waiting, like a lot of you all here, a lot of my fellow or reformed perfectionists. We don't even claim that anymore. Um, Waiting for the perfect conditions. You, Danie, just talked about walking out on water like Peter,
Mm-hmm.
waiting for the storm to die down, waiting for the resources to be there, waiting for my bank account to say a certain number, waiting to achieve a certain job title in corporate America
Yeah.
before I felt comfortable
Yeah.
stepping out. But little did I know that had I answered the call sooner, well, the timing was perfect when I answered the call. Let me just say that because it ushered me into, it primed me. I had a year, about a year's lead time doing full-time career coaching
Mm-hmm.
before this big, huge job search, job market crash happened.
Yeah.
So I had already walked the talk. I had
Mm.
already put together the blueprints to throw people a lifeline and say, okay, if you're in this position, do this. If you've been laid off, say this during the interview, and giving people the tools. But here's where this is why I think this is so important, this topic, to get over that feeling of perfection. But also the moment I did what God told me to do, and there was one specific video that I put out, we can talk about that later, that took this platform where it is now. But the moment I saw the numbers that that video did, I was embarrassed because I had
Mm.
been telling God no for so long, and it was something so simple. And then when my heart broke, y'all, when I saw the number
Mm.
of saves and shares, it was literally the key to the locked
Come
doors in someone
on,
else's
vulnerability.
life.
Yes, share it. Share
And
the
then,
testimony.
but here's the thing, because we don't do shame and embarrassment over here.
No, no.
But once God released me from the initial shame and embarrassment, I was like, okay, I have to get people into their purpose because I don't ever want you all to experience that. But more importantly, I want lives to be changed. If we are keys to other people's destinies,
Mm-hmm.
unlock other people's
Yeah.
doors. So that was a long winded way to say purpose over perfection.
That's all right. That's all right. So as we spoke about
Yeah.
yesterday, when we talk about purpose and perfection, right? It's a couple of things.
Yeah.
Sometimes we wait for everything to be perfect because it's something that we inherited from others. Maybe
Yes.
you had that aunt, you had that figure that you growing up that if it wasn't perfect, then their family weren't leaving the house. If you weren't perfect, you had to be the perfect one at the music recital. You had to have all A's in class. Like perfection was a requirement. Sometimes waiting for everything to be perfect comes from inner criticism,
Mm.
meaning, and I'm not saying everyone here is a critic, but sometimes we can be critical when you are not walking and doing the thing that you were created to
Oh,
do.
yeah.
We can sometimes become harsh to others, either knowingly or unknowingly. So now I'm criticizing everyone who I see trying to walk on water. Look at them drowning. Look at them
Mm.
flailing. Look at them going underneath the water.
Hmm.
And what it has only done is postpone me having my walking on water moment. Why? Because what if they talk about me the same way I talked about them?
Mm.
And they may never talk about you. They may never, everyone may cheer for you and say, we've been waiting for
Yeah.
this moment, but just having that thought is enough to hold you back, right? So,
Yes.
talking tonight about purpose over perfection, there's some things that Krista said already that I want everyone on this live to take away. Number one, let's start looking back over the past year, the past 5 years, the past, I don't know what the age range is of the community, the
Yeah.
past 20 years. And what has been the things that have been either a reoccurring theme or that have heavily impacted your life that you find yourself consistently doing. And notice Krista's thing was not necessarily a big
Yeah.
thing. It was something God always puts into the equation your personality,
Mm-hmm.
your likes, your dislikes. He knows you, right?
Yes.
So God, let's take Saul, right?
Yeah.
Brilliant man who knew the law, who
Mm-hmm.
spoke to people and government
Yeah.
officials, who was influential already in his own right.
Yes.
God used that. So if you're listening to Krista and we're going through this and you're going to take this tool with you to then share this seed, this is a form of tithing for us, right? Giving. What are some of the things that you've gone through over the past 6 months, 1 year, 5 years that have been reoccurring for you that keep coming up? Don't try to pick the cookie cutter thing. List all the things.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Krista. Fall in your court.
Yes. Yes, Danie. Yes, I'm taking notes over here. I'm like, okay.
Homework.
Yes.
Yes.
You said something here that brought to mind something that I've been saying throughout these 30 days of faith. Every moment is a miracle. And you think about doing what Danie just recommended that you do. Look back over this time, the faith
Mm-hmm.
walk that you've been doing with God throughout your life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I want you to think about this past year. Just let's limit it to right there. What have you been praying to God for? And then what
Mm.
has God been urging you to do? Oftentimes, God will give you a small task to
Yep.
to test and see if you're trustworthy for the big ask.
Mm-hmm.
And so you think that this small task that God is asking you to do is usually something that you can do very easily. It's nothing, it's a small baby step, but you've discounted it because it's not directly tied in the natural eye to the big thing. And this is why I've been saying all along throughout this 30 days of faith that every moment is a miracle.
Mm-hmm.
You think about all of the millions and billions of destinies, people that there are on this earth, and what it's going to take for your miracle to come to fruition, given that you have all these millions of people who have free will. God is weaving together destinies as the fabric of the
Mm.
thing that you're having faith in. You're praying for God to help you have a corporate exit strategy, but He's telling you to volunteer at this organization down the road, but you
Yep.
can't find time because you have married yourself to the work that you're doing in corporate America, but you're praying steadily to read. You see the cycle that you go through. This is why every moment is a miracle. When God tells you to move, this is why I'm so passionate about purpose and taking advantage of even the small things, because we will often discount the miraculous moment. And therefore, now we got to start back from ground zero. God has to weave together another miracle. God can do all things, but you get the point that I'm trying to get here.
Mm-hmm.
Every moment is a miracle and it must be seized.
Mm. And so I know we're there. She said, believing in my power to hit the next plateau in life. I'm choosing comfortable for some reason. I think it's PCOS. So I'm not gonna move the PCOS to the side because I have PCOS as well. So I understand the trials. It's not the trials of PCOS, it's the tribulations.
Yeah.
The tribulations with PCOS is what really gets
Yeah.
you. But
Yes.
you said something. I'm choosing comfortable for some reason.
Mm,
One of my rules as a coach, and Crystal will tell you, is that I do not accept any iteration of I don't know.
mm,
Why? Because it gives up your power, right? You're not taking any kind of ownership on the
yeah.
outcome. So when you say, I'm choosing comfortable for some reason, that is a way of saying, I don't know why I'm choosing comfortable. You know why you're choosing comfortable, right? You may need more time. May need to give it more
Yes.
thought. You may need to face some hard truths. Maybe you're not in a space to accept why comfort is serving you right
Mm,
now. But when you choose comfortable, it is serving you, right? Because I don't want to believe in myself right now. It's going to take a lot of change and a lot of discipline, right? All
yeah.
right. So now, see what happens when you take that ownership over the reason why I don't want to believe in myself right now. My first question for you, not to
Mm,
derail, and we'll get
this is
right
good.
back on track, Krista, is why don't you want to believe in yourself? Who was a person that you either believed in, or what was a time when your faith? What was something you put your faith in that maybe was a mismanagement of faith? That is something that we often don't talk about. And with Danie, I call myself the love coach because I say it real, but I say it with love.
Mm.
The truth is that oftentimes it's not that we don't have faith, is that there is a mismanagement of faith. I'm believing in things that it is not necessarily God's will. It is 100% my will.
Yes.
I am believing in people that I am not assigned to. And how do I know I'm not assigned to them? I'm tired every time I speak to them.
Yeah.
I every time they call or we hang out, I feel a pit in my stomach. I don't feel like my best self after engaging with them.
Mm.
I am pouring my faith in pots that it's not assigned to. So then what happens when you take resources and you mismanage them, when it's time to put them where they belong, there aren't any resources left or we need to replenish. So my homework for you, my question for you is, okay, I can't believe in myself right now. What do I need to do? Who do I need to be around? What is the smallest step that I can take to change that narrative? What
Mm.
is the prayer that I need to pray so that I can start believing in myself? I am a firm believer in his yoke is easy and his burden is light. And there is a reason why it gets too heavy, because the whole point is to take it back to him.
Mm.
So, if you are in a place where you've plateaued, you're comfortable, but comfortable is starting to get uncomfortable, my homework for you, and you need to have this conversation either in the car, on the toilet, while you're driving, while you're cooking, with yourself, and you need to be honest with yourself, is what was it? Was it a mismanagement of faith? Did I put it in people, places, or things that God never asked me to, never instructed me to? I just wanted to? Or have I been putting it into something or asking something of myself that isn't my purpose in the
Mm.
first place? Go ahead and
Mm.
stop right there.
That's good. That's good. That's good right there. Um, a mismanagement of faith. That right there is, I've never heard that before, that phrasing, and that hit me.
Mm,
Um, a mismanagement of faith and overall, how you do anything is how you do everything. And so as I'm thinking about how that applies to my life, a mismanagement of resources in my
mm,
life, where in other areas am I mismanaging resources, and how is that reinforcing the mismanagement in this very, very important part of my
mm.
life? Thank you so much for that,
My
Danie.
pleasure.
Here's what I want to do. I want to turn to the community really quickly. Feel free to drop your questions here. I love that individual who has been engaging here. If you have questions that you want us to answer, we've already received some questions and we'll kind of run through those. But I really want you all to ask while you can. Danie, this is a special treat. This is a special treat. So I really want us to really get there. That's my brother Lance. You know, Spoon is my
Hi,
brother
Lance. How are
Lance.
you? Nice to meet you.
And we come from the same household. I'm not going to pull anyone else's card, but I'm going to talk about my personal experience. And I shared this with you, Danie. I
Mhm,
came from a household with a parent who is a military veteran. And
mhm,
if there are any other military children here, you know how it is to have to toe the line.
mhm,
Danie asked me a question yesterday that had my jaw dropped to my chest. When you asked, why are you still choosing to be a perfectionist or subscribe to perfectionist type qualities?
yeah,
Why am I still choosing that in adulthood?
yeah,
I could have given that up a long time ago and went on the other way. But over time, and we walked through some questions, thank you, Danie, walking through some questions, discovered that I've held on to perfectionism because it served me. I got rewarded for being the model child of five
mhm,
children. My brother's on here, he can co-sign, doing my homework without having to ask so that I didn't have to hear on me, you
mhm,
know, doing my homework, being in the library, just being the model student. And then that turned into being the model employee, and then so on and so forth. When I started this platform, it was slow. picking up. If you all have been around, you know that this platform started as a fitness page, and that was a deviation from what God told me to do, trying to backdoor the purpose. All right, I'm on social media, God, but I'm going to do fitness. And God
Mm-hmm.
was like, that's not right. And my thing was that I was, my thought is that I need this to be perfect. I need what I say to be perfect when all God was asking me to do was to step out and say, use my tool, my gift to say what he's asking me to say. And suddenly it dawned on me, God was like, Krista, no one asked you to put together a full TV and film production. I asked you to, you could get on here in a sweatshirt and say the words and it will still be impactful. And this is why I really, there's a calling that's happening. And I can see it as a big wave rolling through the community based on conversations that we're having. My pastor, Pastor Toria Roberts, who is married to Sarah Jakes Roberts, he said something that has stuck with me for years now. He said, God often gives you a glimpse of who he's calling you to be by the giants he places in front of you to slay. And so now, and Danie gave me this tool in my toolbox. Relationships are mirrors. And so in this 40,000, this community of 40,000, the conversations I'm having with a lot of you, I see myself reflected back. I see myself directly reflected back. And God is calling some powerhouses out of this community to stand up tall on social media specifically and
Mm-hmm.
to be a voice, be voices that combat some of this other negativity that we
Mm-hmm.
experience. He's calling you out, calling you to raise up. And every time we talk, I hear, it's like I'm hearing my own voice. I'm nervous, I'm anxious, imposter syndrome, all of the things that I had to pray against, the strongholds, procrastination, notoriously in a former version of myself, notorious procrastinator,
Mm-hmm.
showing up late, all the things,
I got
squandering
onto this.
opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
And you never know which miracle moment has passed you by because people have already pegged you as a procrastinator or someone who doesn't have confidence. And they
Mm-hmm.
immediately disqualify you as soon as you pop into their mind. I don't want that for you guys, which is why I'm so
Mm-hmm.
passionate. God is calling you out to raise you up. And the urgency is right there. You can see it moving all around us if you have a spiritual eye,
Yeah.
if you have a discerning eye. So
Yeah.
I'm seeing you all reflected back to me, and I want you all to have the tools to break that bind of perfection. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be willing. That's what I really want you all to take away.
That's all right. Come on, you better give a word. For those of you who are just joining, thank you for joining us. Those of you who don't know me, I saw a couple of people asking, who is this woman? What does she do? My name is Danie Spikes. I'm a professional relationship coach. I'm actually a master coach. I've been coaching for this year is my 10th year, so I have over 10,000 hours. In addition to coaching, amazing companies like the NBA and Meta and all of those big Fortune 100 companies, I specialize and helping you live the life that you deserve by helping you repair your relationships, starting with yourself. All right. So you mentioned something about perfectionism, and I want to call some people out, myself included. There are two sides to that coin, right? When we talk about perfectionism, it's the same person who waits for everything to be perfect. They're the cousin of the same person who doesn't give their all to a project or to whatever it is that they're doing, so that if it fails, if it doesn't go well, if it doesn't pan out to be, you know, what they've hoped and dreamed to be, if someone speaks condescending of it, whatever the case is, they can always say, well, it's because I didn't put my all into it, or because it was too perfect.
Mm,
And so therefore it's the same thought, like forgiveness and trust, two sides of the same coin.
yes.
That perfectionism and lackadaisicalness is two sides of the same exact coin. That person who holds back, and if we actually lean in and ask ourselves some honest questions, how many times did we do the thing but didn't really pour every last drop, every ounce of ourselves into it, because just in case it doesn't work out the way that we hope for it to work out,
Yes.
or it doesn't exceed our expectations in the way that we want to see it exceed our expectations. We can always say, well, I didn't really give it my all.
This is good. Danie, you, you are something special. Listen,
I'm just a reflection, girl. Back to
listen to
you.
me. I'm over here like, okay, yes, note after note. Um, you talked about the two cousins.
Mhm.
That's the same person. There's another family member, procrastination,
Oh, yeah.
and a bunch of other family members that fall into that same thing, that same line. Here's what I also want to add to that is what God showed me, that God there perfectionism is not all bad necessarily,
Hmm.
because it's the same. God is entrusting you with a very specific gift because he knows you hold a certain level of excellence, a standard of excellence. So he
Hmm.
can trust you that you will dot your I's and cross your T's. So there is a silver lining to it to a certain extent. But I found for me, there was that sense of control that you were talking about, controlling, okay, well, it didn't go well because I didn't give it the time.
Hmm.
Procrastination married to perfectionism. Well, it
Hmm.
didn't, of course, it didn't turn out right because I only gave myself 2 hours to execute a 24-hour job,
Hmm.
you know? So this is really good. I'm gonna go ahead, if you don't mind, Danie, can we
Yep.
shift to some of these questions
Yes, yes,
that came through?
yes, yes. Oh, we will be here till 10:30. Go ahead.
That part. Okay, so some questions came through from the community, and I appreciate each of you who sent in your questions, some really good ones here. We have, what is the middle ground? This is a good one. What is the middle ground between waiting on the Lord and procrastinating? Do you want to take that first, Danie?
Yeah, I could,
I
but
will.
it's your community, so I want to. You want me to
I can take it. I'll give my thoughts.
give your thoughts,
Um,
and then I'll give thoughts and homework. Go ahead.
Okay, this is
Hmm.
good. All right, we love homework. What is the middle ground between waiting on the Lord and procrastination? The thing that I love about God is that when God gives you instructions, God's instructions are very clear and very specific.
Hmm.
And how do you know it's coming from God? You look for the clarity of thought, the recurring thoughts. I call them Bluetooth thoughts. And
Hmm.
that voice, that inner voice, that outer voice, however you hear God in your close personal time, your relationship with God will become more, and it will become louder and louder. And then what will happen is you'll start to see confirmation around you, sometimes from complete strangers. And it will be as though what started as a gentle tap will
Hmm.
now feel like a shove and sometimes a kick in the back.
Hmm.
And it becomes where at a certain point, God was willing to baby step you into the process, walk out on the water, Peter. Other times he's like, if you don't get yourself off this boat and swim, you have the
Hmm.
tools to swim. Go or walk out on the water. I'm telling you, you can do it. So, what is the middle ground between waiting on the Lord and procrastination? God gives you clear instructions. So, I don't know if there is a middle ground. God will tell you the exact timing. Do this, then do this. Talk to this person, reach out to this person. So, I don't, in my thoughts and my experience, I don't believe there's a middle ground because God is about the details. God is in the details.
Right. There is none. So waiting on the Lord are things that only God can
Yeah.
do. Procrastination is not doing the things that you can do. If the
Mm.
Lord tells you to, let's say, for instance, write a book, right? Write a book about maybe your experience in the corporate world, right? You can look up different formats of writing the book. You can start writing the topic. You can start typing out the details, what your chapters are going to be about. The only part that you have to wait on God for is maybe the finances,
Mm.
maybe a publishing house. Things that are out of your control is what we wait on God for.
That's good.
Procrastination are things that are completely in your control that you choose not to
Yeah.
do. And then you use an example of things that are out of your control as a reason why you're not doing the things that are in your control. Vis-a-vis, I'll be very honest. I'm waiting on God for a specific storefront location. Beloved Box is our spa collection.
Mhm.
We also have Home by Beloved Box, which is our home collection.
Yeah.
We're launching our fragrance collection
Mm.
next year. right? Our fine fragrance collection. But our storefront will be a retail space and a spa. I'm waiting on the Lord to provide the spa location, right?
Yes.
Because the specific location that I prayed on, that when I looked to heaven, I said, Lord, is this your will? He said, yes, that I know I can't do right now. I'm
Mm-hmm.
waiting on God for that.
Yes.
But I'm still selling Beloved Box to other spas. I am still learning from the best spa brand in the world, the Ritz Carlton, how to own, run, and manage a spa. I am still attending spa shows. Every chance I'm around a massage therapist, a spa director, a spa owner, or a spa manager, I am having these conversations so that when God gives me the keys to the building,
Yes.
I have done my part. So when we always say faith without works is
Yes.
dead, I am consistently activating my faith by doing the things because I know the God that I serve.
Yes.
And if he can do it for
Mhm.
others, then he can do it for me. The person who started Ritz Carlton and the person that started Beloved Box are two people, right? And I know what God is going to do. So I'm waiting on God for the keys to the door. I'm
Yes.
waiting on God for the amount of or the path to funding we're going to take
Mm-hmm.
to outfit the location.
Yeah.
But when it comes to, I'm not being procrastination. I'm not exercising procrastination in learning the things because I'm not going to wait until I get the keys to now learn how to run a spa. I'm already behind.
Yes.
Once I get the keys, I already have all of the information on how to run not only a
Yeah.
spa, but the kind of spa that I know that God has entrusted me with. Does that
Mm.
make so? There is no middle ground between waiting on God and procrastination. Everything that you're procrastinating on are things that are completely in your control that you can do right now. And you're choosing to look at the things that only God can do
Yes.
because you need that miracle to get to that next level. You're looking at those things. Well, when I get the check, when
Mm-hmm.
I get the opportunity, when I get in the room, sweetheart, that's not how it works. Baby, you have to do your part because what doing your part does is it constantly edifies your faith and tells God, I trust you. I don't care what it looks like. I don't care what it sounds like. I don't care what I have, what I don't have.
Yes.
You said it. I believe it. I'm actively pursuing it because all he has is his word. He spoke and it comes to pass. He is his word. Through his word, by his word, because of his word. If it is the word of God, it will come to
That's
pass.
it.
So when I go to the Ritz Carlton, or when I step into a spa show, or when I am speaking to a spa director and we just closed another spa, praise the Lord, selling Beloved Box,
Mm-hmm.
sweetheart, all I'm doing is just reminding my spirit that God said it and he's going to do it. And I am waiting for him on this. But this part,
Yes.
oh, over here, I got this,
Yes.
God.
That's it.
Don't send me anybody for this. I
I
have
got
this under control. I got that.
it.
You
You
do
do your God
that part.
thing, right?
Do your
You do
God
your God
thing.
thing. I'll
And
do
then
the
at
thing.
that point, then you see your faith. You see some people who have the kind of faith, and you're like, man, I wish I had faith like that.
Yes.
But if you spend time with that person and you actively listen to that person saying, my back is against the
Mm-hmm.
cross, my back is not against the wall,
Yeah.
doing the things that are in their control, reminding God of his word and saying, if he said, I'm going to give you Krista, I'm going to give you the largest stages to speak on globally from SHRM all the way to Black Enterprise to talk about career
Uh-huh.
development, then God, I am going to faithfully show up on Instagram every single day, whether it's 26 people, 260 people, 2,600 people, by faith and continually talk about this. That I have in my control. Now, God, you putting my name in the ears of the decision makers, that's
That's
on
it.
you. But in terms of me being ready when I get on that stage, that's on me.
I got it.
I hope whoever asked that question and whoever needed to hear that tonight received it and will do the things. We don't need no more vision boards in
Come
2024.
on.
We need to start doing 2025.
Yes.
do the things that he told you to do.
This is it. I'm glad you said that right there, Danie. You are preaching, girl, because this is directly related to some of the conversations, some of the topics that we've been covering over the course of the 30 days of faith. We're on day 16, as I reminded everybody else. Forced dormancy.
Mm,
If you're thinking about the fruiting cycle, we talked about this a couple of days ago. The natural fruiting cycle of a fruit tree or of a flower, even what you see and experience out in nature is exactly what we are tasked with doing. There are people who have been praying for things all year, but they aren't being a diligent co-worker with God and doing their part versus God's part. And so therefore they're forcing themselves, if it's about bearing fruit, they force themselves into dormancy. They're not going to
mm,
bear the fruit because they aren't doing the things that need to get done that God has already assigned them to bring forth this thing that they're asking God for, that they're believing in God for. Thank you so much for that. So, to the person that asked this, be a diligent coworker, would you? Judgment-free
mm.
zone, but just a reminder.
And someone said, I'm trying. Hey, Krista, how are you? Someone said, I'm trying. For the person who is tired, for the person who has been doing the things, for the person who has done everything that they can possibly do, and they now it's just God.
Yes,
That is when God calls on you to rest, which is a very vulnerable position to be in.
yes,
People say they want a soft life in God, but the truth of the matter is when you're truly resting and he calls you to rest in
yes,
him, it can be very hard. It can be very uncomfortable, especially if you are a doer, if
yes,
you are the one who is always diligent, if you are the Martha. You had Martha and Mary. One
yes,
sat at the foot of Jesus, one was actively working. If you've done all you can do and you've prayed and you've waited for instructions and you've looked around and there is nothing else, then you ask God to please help me to rest.
that's it.
Help me to rest in you fully
That's it.
and help me to work through the things that makes it uncomfortable for me to rest.
That's good.
Mr.
That's
Michael
good.
Walker, to wait on God means to
That's
patiently and actively.
my brother-in-law.
Come on now. You better exercise the text, Mr. Walker.
Come on now,
Exercise
Pastor.
it. You gonna walk that text now.
Now, listen, Danie, you actually started walking us down the path. This is how I know God is real, because you started walking us down the path to answering the next question, which is, can one's purpose change or shift based on life events, or should the basis always stay the same? I believe because our destinies, and based on what God's word says, our destinies were predestined. For I know the plans I have for
Before
you, but
you were
also
born.
God knew us in our mother's womb.
Mm-hmm.
All of the scriptures that can back that up. But I believe that God will give you moments of reprieve
Mm-hmm.
based on life events, that there will be ebbs and flows, or you're producing fruit. You've shown that you're responsible in a certain area. So you've got a system and a cycle going on in one area.
Mm-hmm.
God will call you to rest in it, or rest in that area, let that run, let someone else run it, frankly, and he'll ask you to do something in another area or completely take your hands off of it. But Danie, I'm interested to know from you, does the purpose change?
Mm-mm.
Or does it amplify and maybe it's just ebbs and flows in one area or the other?
So you took a great task. You took it in a really great direction. I'm going to take it in a different direction. There are some of us who have shiny object syndrome. And
Mm,
so I am drawn to empowering people, so I'm going to do that. Okay, empowering people is no longer fulfilling me anymore. Oh my gosh, I really love this person. They have a clothing line, and I feel pulled to the clothing line, so I'm going to do that. Oh, now the clothing line is becoming too much work. It's not as fun anymore. Oh my gosh, now this person is cooking, and I'm great at cooking. People always call me a great chef.
yes.
Now I'm going to do that. And what we confuse are tasks with
Mm,
purpose, right? The purpose never changes.
yeah,
What he called you to do, you're going to do every single time,
yeah.
right? Now, the conduit, the vehicle may look different. Someone
Crystal,
said sprinkle, sprinkle ADHD.
ADHD, razzle dazzle.
It's a superpower. It now the vehicle may change depending on the season you are,
Yes,
but the purpose never
that's it.
changes, right? And that's where we have to make a clear delineation
Hmm.
between something that you're passionate about
Yes,
and then something that is your actual purpose.
Yes.
All right? Because you can be I am incredibly passionate about wine.
Yes.
Because it is an olfactory sense. My spouse and I were members of 2 wineries. We love taking wine. We have great varietal. I mean, I can go down.
My sister Tasha's on here, Danie, T. Janae, and she is a wine connoisseur. You're speaking her language.
Listen, the wine, it's me. I am not called to create wine.
Mm-hmm.
I am not called to be a sommelier.
Ooh, yeah.
I am not called to host tours in Napa Valley,
yes,
drinking wine. Come on, Tasha. Even though it's something that I'm incredibly passionate about.
yeah.
And how do I know when it's passion versus purpose? Passion tends to edify ourselves and satisfy us. Purpose tends to edify and glorify God, right?
Yes.
And sometimes purpose doesn't feel good. Sometimes you don't want to be in this phase of your purpose. Sometimes you don't want to talk to that person. Sometimes you don't want to pray for that person. Sometimes you don't want to show up for that person. Yes. Sometimes you don't want to turn the other cheek. Sometimes you just want to be me and Tasha down to the winery, eating our charcuterie boards, taking a beautiful Sauvignon Blanc. And that's where I want in the bosom of Christ. But purpose says today you need to show up online. You need to show up in this space, right? And so when we're talking about your purpose, I really don't want you to confuse what you're passionate about in the next season. But the next, I feel like
that part, the next season.
That's the prophetic right there. But I will get distracted. That ADHD.
There it goes.
Not to confuse what you're passionate about, what you enjoy, what satisfies you with what your purpose is. And sometimes your purpose, when you are living a fulfilled and purposeful life, you do feel satisfied. But that's not always the case, right?
Yes. Look at this is an ideation. Then now this became an echo chamber, Danie. They got ideas for you. A winery spa.
Tasha, you are in the vein. You already know what we're doing at Sanctuary by Beloved Box, the spa. But I'll talk to you on another time. Go ahead. Do we have another question?
We do have another question. You actually already started going down this path. This person posed the question in this way: how do you know if your purpose is from God? I believe what they're asking is, how do you know what your purpose is? What is your purpose that God sent you? So here are a couple of things. In me being a career and purpose coach, here are a few bullet points that I think you can look out for. There is, I want you to look at your natural gifts, what you're naturally talented at, what comes easy, what comes easily, what other people compliment you on. Sometimes it could be something that you've completely discounted that is on the wayside over in the corner, but people will often call on you as the expert, as the subject matter expert in that area. I also heard another speaker say, and this actually stuck with me for many years now, that he said, turn your pain into your purpose. Oftentimes, the area where you've had to do the most self-development, or God has had to do the most development inside of you through the Holy Spirit, through massaging things out of you, he'll turn that into your purpose so that you can walk people through the same blueprint that you went through. That's me, frankly. But then I also want you to look at the impact of the thing. It's the thing that the purpose that God will send you is one meant for God's glory, but also, there's no but, and also the impacting the kingdom. You look at how many people you're impacting, and that will often point you in the direction that the gift that you can lend to the kingdom is going to edify others, improve the lives of others, because that's the nature of the world that God put us in. An apple tree grows apples to nurture and edify those around them. So there's that. I also want you to look for confirmation, divine confirmation. This can come in the form of other people telling you you're good at this. It can also come in the form of opportunities. So for me, I'm a natural introvert, but the opportunities always come for me to do public speaking. So I have to take that seriously after a number of times.
Hmm.
So look at the gifts, the things that you're naturally inclined to do, that you're good at. I also want you to look at where God has had to do the most development in you, um, through the renewing of your mind, through, different developmental steps that it'll take you through, but also look for the impact, the glory of God, the impact on the kingdom and God's people, and then look for confirmation. But what say you, Danie?
You know what? You're the career and purpose coach. You answered the questions, you answered them well. There's no need for me to add anything else. Sometimes when the meal is just cooked right, it's just cooked right. Adding salt and pepper is just gonna ruin it. A
Thank you,
plus.
Danie.
A plus
Thank you,
plus.
Danie. I feel like a proud student. Did I get it right,
I
teacher? Um,
I know that did something for you.
Listen, words of affirmation. I'm like, really, more, please.
You did a
Um,
phenomenal job.
Thank you, Danny. We're coming up on time here. We usually just take it to the hour. So I do want to throw it back to the community here. Are
Mhm.
there any questions? I know people are really, really, my sister said, good star for you, gold star for the day. Bing. Here's what I want you overall to leave with you all, that perfection is just one stronghold. Well, I'll call it what it is on a
Mhm.
spiritual level. It's just one stronghold. Over this 30 days, we're day 16 of 30 days of faith, we've touched on a lot of different strongholds: procrastination, anxiety, imposter syndrome, and on we go. Whatever it is that we need to talk about, whatever I'm hearing from the community, we're going to talk about. That's what I'm here for. That's what Danie has so graciously volunteered her time to give to us, to sow the seed, to give back to this community. I appreciate you, Danie. You do not know how much I appreciate you.
Go ahead.
Words can't describe. Danie, what sort of things can people look for from you in the near future?
Okay, so I am back. First of all, Beloved Box, www.belovedbox.com. That is our website where you can definitely get into our spa collection or our home collection. I am Danie, Dani Spikes.com. Danny's going to be back speaking more. We took a year and some change off to focus on family planning and et cetera, et cetera. And now God is calling me back to the forefront. So definitely doing a lot of fun things. And then Love and Lavender. So every year, Mother's Day, I host a one-day event where women can be rejuvenated, mind, body, and soul. The last Love and Lavender I did was in 2022. So we took 2 years off, family planning, doing our things.
Yes.
And so now we're bringing Love and Lavender back. So if everyone can definitely follow me on Instagram. If you want to have me back, Krista, I will be more than happy to come back. I appreciate you. I am proud of you. I am so happy to see you walking on water. I remember your response years ago when we worked together. Was it 2020, 2021, 2019?
Early 2019, before
2019.
right before the pandemic, friend. So maybe even 2018.
2018. 29, it was early on.
Yeah.
And I told Krista, my clients are future world changers. They are the ones that will take this, amplify it, and then go out in the world and create their community. She was like, no, no, I'm here. I'm here for me. I'm here to do the things that need to be done for me. I'm making the investment. So seeing you in this space, I mean, words cannot describe. It's very big sis energy, very proud energy, very, oh my gosh, keep, keep going. What about
Thank
you?
you.
What are you guys getting into?
This is good.
What are you getting into?
And Danny, before I start going down that road, if you could put your handles into the chat and I'll pin them so everybody can, they're asking some questions about Beloved Box, where they can find you. If they want to book sessions with you, they'll find that on your Instagram as well.
Yes, I don't open my books until January because, you know, mama's
Hmm. Yep.
mom's got some stuff going on, but once the books are open, I will be announcing them and of course becoming more public with posting content and doing lives as well. All right.
Beautiful.
Awesome sauce. I put the two. There
Beautiful.
was something else I was gonna
I
say.
I don't know how I got this filter on my face.
Snatched. You
I do that every
girl,
time.
you're
Okay.
a snatch. No, they had
Listen.
you.
I'm clipping
darling.
that. Both of us doing it at the same time. That is hilarious. Danie, I'm so excited about everything that you have forthcoming. Please, you all, and I don't even have to say please. If you all were fed by this, you will be running to her page to follow her, follow everything that she has coming up. I want to say this to you, Danie. If we're talking about fruit and seed and fruit bearing, I had this thought earlier today that I am simply a seed that you
Oh my
sowed
gosh.
into, and I have become a seed. And
Oh my gosh.
look, as you are preparing to re-enter
Oh,
this
oh my gosh.
purpose vein,
Don't make me cry, Krista.
we're gonna cry because I'm gonna cry too. God has rolled out the red carpet for you. This community of 40,000,
Oh
this
my
is
goodness.
based on a seed that you planted in me.
My God.
And on it goes. And on it goes. I can't wait to introduce you to show you some of the things that people in this community, my clients, are doing. I am simply a seed of your
Mm.
yes,
Oh
of
my
you
goodness.
properly stewarding the destiny steps. And now, welcome back, Coach Danie Spikes.
Thank you. Oh, we can end on that, man. We can end on that. That was amazing.
I'm going to
Look
say
at
one last
you.
thing before we wrap this up. You
Mhm.
all, I directly tied to 30 Days of Faith and this title here, Purpose Over Perfection. And some other people heard this in another session that we did last week. Guess who's having a purpose party? We are. On December 30th, before we head into the new year, just after Christmas, you will see the link in my bio to sign up for the Purpose Party. If you have missed any of my master classes over this year, if it's resume writing, monetizing your skill set, turning your purpose into profit, building a life that is kingdom focused, but also honoring God, you don't have to leave your faith at the door of a corporation. If you're feeling
Mhm.
called out of corporate and into your purpose, there are ways to replace that income, all of the things that you need to really step into to identify your purpose, step into your purpose,
Mhm.
and then create a comfortable living for yourself with every day working in, standing tall in the purpose that God has assigned you. So click the link in the bio to sign up for the purpose party. Invite your friends. I cannot wait to work with you all. I can't wait.
I can't
So,
wait.
yeah.
My last thing is perfectionism is not
Mm,
real.
mm,
It's not real. That perfect moment you're waiting for, that perfect moment that you're saving, you're not going to launch until everything is perfect. That's not real. Procrastination is real, but perfectionism isn't. But procrastination survives off
yes.
of the idea of perfectionism.
Mm. So if you cut perfectionism off at the head, ta-da, razzle dazzle, there goes
Things start
procrastination.
happening. Things start happening. It starts moving.
That's
Because no
good.
matter how perfect you think you got it, it's always going to be something else that could have been done.
That's
There's
good.
no such thing as perfect.
That's good. You made it up, friends. In conclusion, you made it up. Um, thank you so much. Mic drop. Thank you, Danie, Coach Danie Spikes, and thank you all for joining us. Until next time. Side note, no office hours tomorrow night for those of you who are usually here on Wednesday nights. I do have an engagement to be at, but I'll be back on Thursday. I love you guys. Have a beautiful night.
Bye.
Bye, Danie.